Hello and welcome back to Coin Lady channel. Deaton claims the Supreme Court may hear the Ripple case before Congress takes action. And, alas, I think you'll find that to be true. Should the SEC versus Ripple case go to the Supreme Court, or even the Court of Appeals? That's right, it could be a while before Congress finally takes action. I'd like to share that with you along with some thoughts on the Silicon Valley Bank bailout from Ripple's Chief Legal Officer Stuart Alderoty. Last but not least, I'll go over something that is totally ridiculous to end the video. But it's also John Deaton's public service announcement as a lawyer. However, a crafty con artist pursued him, and a phone call to John Deaton was a part of the scam. I am not joking around, so I am putting this out there as a public service announcement. Be wary of the scammers, the terrible people out there who would love to steal your crypto and make it their own as the industry evolves and becomes more complex and sophisticated. Nonetheless, there is something I need to clarify before we go any further. I come from a completely monetary background-free background. You shouldn't buy or sell anything based on what I say or write because I am not giving financial advice. I'm just a fan who occasionally posts videos to YouTube about random crypto-related topics for kicks. Alright, then. Here's a tweet from Glenn Greenwald, who embedded a segment of the national news program Face the Nation and captioned it as follows. Today on Face the Nation, Democratic Representative Ro Khanna of Silicon Valley urged the federal government to do more to protect Silicon Valley Bank depositors beyond the FDIC's $250,000 insurance. That is, after all, what occurred, as we know. However, before that happened, many depositors were on edge, including some that weren't even businesses. Khanna retweeted this and clarified that no taxpayer funds are being used. The FDIC is supported by this fee assessed on financial institutions. It would be a progressive policy to require higher premiums from banks in order to safeguard the deposits of payroll and regional banks and to slow the trend towards bank consolidation. Finally, here is what Stuart Alderoty had to say. Who was Ripple's top lawyer again? Thank you for your leadership in making Silicon Valley Bank depositors whole, he wrote in a retweet to Ro Khanna. I'll say it again, take a moment to pause. Being that Ripple is a depositor, you would naturally side with them. And I agree that depositors should be protected. Let the bank itself burn down, by the way. There were some extremely bad choices made by the bank. The government is the first target of my anger. The trouble starts there. I've already gone into more detail in another video, so I won't be doing that here. The government bears the brunt of the blame, but Silicon Valley Bank also deserves some of the blame for its poor judgment in investing in long-term government bonds when it should have known that interest rates would be exceptionally low. Do you think that could lead to a problem? The correct answer must have been that. However, Stuart Alderoty argues that despite criticism of tech VC, there are many startups working to solve critical issues in areas such as healthcare, climate change, artificial intelligence, financial technology, national security, and even cryptocurrency. The lack of a postmortem is unacceptable and needs to be addressed along with the accountability and regulatory gaps that have been identified. However, the only action taken by depositors or their employees was to place money in a bank that then bought government-backed debt. This lacks the spirit of adventure. Such thinking represents conservatism. I concur with that assessment. And the notion that depositors are supposed to, on a weekly basis stay on top of what their trusted financial institution, their bank is doing, to make sure is that really the level of due diligence and then what? But no matter how hard you try, you won't ever have access to this information. Give me a drink of water, please. I sincerely apologize. However, even if you try to do that, if you engage in that level of due diligence, which will only serve to distract you from running your own business, you will never know. All the nuts and bolts will always be hidden from you. You'd never do that because it has nothing to do with you or the bank, and it's unfair to put the responsibility on the depositors. Absolutely not. It's a different story if you're a bank shareholder. If you're talking about a depositor, though, things get complicated, especially when the federal government doesn't allow any other banking system besides fractional reserve banking. No. Therefore, I agree with Stuart Alderoty. That's not very adventurous. You're not really doing anything at all. Here's another example. According to Deaton, the Supreme Court may hear the Ripple case before Congress takes action. It has been speculated by attorney John Deaton that the case brought by the SEC against Ripple could reach the U.S. Supreme Court before Congress passes legislation to regulate the cryptocurrency industry. The case is currently pending in district court and would need to be appealed to the Circuit Court of Appeals before making its way to the Supreme Court. The creator of Crypto Law tweeted their thoughts on the matter earlier today. As a result of signs that the SEC wouldn't be slowing down its stepped-up crypto enforcement, this move was expected. Fox Business reporter Elena Terrett quoted from the SEC's proposed budget. The agency stresses that it will investigate and take enforcement action against any cryptocurrency company that it finds to be non-compliant. This, as reported by Terrett, suggests that the regulator plans to increase the size of its crypto enforcement unit, which has already doubled in size over the past year. Deaton uses its findings to argue that the only way the next 2 years will bring clarity to the crypto space is through the judicial system. He admits it's not perfect, but he stands by his assertion that this is the way things are right now. As promised, his tweet is below. For the past 2 years, I've been saying that clarity is provided by the courts, not by Congress or the SEC. Unfortunately, this is not how things ought to be, but this is the reality. The Supreme Court might even hear the Ripple case before Congress takes any action. We need to take this to court. He has been giving it back to him by fighting back in various ways. And if this thing gets to the Supreme Court from where it is right now, expect another 4 or 5 years of waiting, because we get the Supreme Court. The next tier is the Court of Appeals. First, I truly hope that it doesn't come to that, because you're looking at another 4 to 5 years. I could go into detail, but I've already done so in other videos, and I'm hopeful that we can avoid that situation altogether. But just hold on for the ride, and if it comes to that, I won't be selling any of my XRP holdings. Should the government act in such a way, it would be because of that. I'm not going to stay quiet about this, and I plan to share my story with anyone who is interested in hearing it. Here's another example. At least this is a start. So, yesterday, this was tweeted out by attorney Deaton. Bogus PSA, take note and pay attention, because I've said many times that some people are more gullible than others, and that this is true regardless of how intelligent or well-educated you are. However, anyone can be duped by a con artist given the right set of circumstances. That includes myself, by the way. I'm easily duped, at least in my own mind. You seem like the type who could be duped, at least in my opinion. One can be duped even if they're not naturally gullible if the conditions are right. This is an elaborate scheme intended to defraud. Deaton, John, it didn't work, thank goodness, and he's warning about all this. I just wanted to make sure you knew about it, for 2 reasons. Indeed, I find it fascinating. People's safety might also be enhanced. So, he pulled together the following, just in case any of you run into the same problem, I thought I'd share my experience. Either someone hacked into my home Wi-Fi or someone changed the SIM card in my phone. There was a freeze in my Uphold app yesterday. My mobile phone was unable to log into my account. Now he claims I saw my Uphold account at a cryptocurrency exchange, grabbed my laptop, and tried to log in. Within 5 minutes of attempting to log in on my home computer, my cell phone rang. When I answered it, the message "Your account has been locked and you will get an email from Uphold for more information" appeared on the screen. For some reason, only the toll-free number showed up on the caller ID. He said, "I just sent you an email," and he claimed to be from Uphold verification. In other words, did you get it? I got an email that looked exactly like this, and he forwarded a screenshot of it. "Hi John, please verify your identity." It appears to be legitimate, coming from Uphold, and reads as follows. Please use the link below to submit a request for a code from a knowledgeable staff member. Simply sign in with the app after downloading it. In addition, bring a photo ID and a corresponding selfie. No more than a few minutes, at most. We regret this very much. We've had to put in place some interim measures and hold some funds in escrow. Withdrawal limits will be imposed. We cannot activate your account until we have verified your identity. This seems to be a legitimate source, right? It's not even written in broken English, which is a common red flag for scams. just that it seems plausible enough to be true. On the surface, it appears to be true. Anyway, here we go with more from attorney Deaton. And he told me to click the link and he'd explain everything step by step. How the F*** do I know you're from Uphold and this is real? Was my response. A reply from him. You've asked a very interesting question there, John. I suppose it's fair to wonder. Uphold server sent you this message. Take a look at it. Domains and email addresses, sure. You should assume that any address you receive is fake. Addresses that look like that might actually be somewhere else. That's been a known fact of life for me for a very long time. Therefore, even though it may appear to be an actual Uphold address, it may be fictitious. In case you were wondering, I'm not joking. Once again, I'm attorney Deaton, he says. After that, he told me that I needed to update my information in order for Uphold to stay in compliance with anti-money laundering laws, or AML/KYC laws. And so on. The answers he gave and the stance he took were both consistent with the current legal climate. You should know by now that this is a complete hoax. I sent him an email requesting a callback number, and so on. Of course, he lied and claimed he couldn't. I was concerned that I hadn't provided enough information because I couldn't log into my account. My safety was obviously breached, though. I'd like to express my gratitude to Uphold and to Doc Martin. Maintain your ground quickly. That means that his title at Uphold is Head of Research, but I can't recall what his title was here. That must be Doc Martin, the leader of the Uphold research team. My funds and withdrawals were immediately secured by Uphold, and I was literally walked through the process of updating my account security. It's important to realize that this was a highly sophisticated operation, and I can totally understand how easy it would be to fall for the thieves and scumbags behind it. If only we could meet in person. I was lucky enough not to lose any money, but I felt compelled to tell others about my experience to raise awareness about how sophisticated these criminals have become. Never put any stock in an email purporting to come from Uphold verification or verification at any other company or exchange. One of the reasons I've shared this thread is that I believe it to be a compelling argument in favor of self-custody. But what did that say to those who argue that people who don't exercise self-custody deserve to have their money taken away? GFY yes, of course. Go certainly, you understand. You don't deserve to have your money stolen from you unless you are a thief. It turns out he was right on target. People who say you should be punished by having your money taken away because you don't practice self-custody annoy me. You can add Typekit to that, of course. If you're a trader, you might know that there are people who hold on to their cash for legitimate reasons. Since nearly all traders end up in the red, I don't think it's a good career choice. Nonetheless, I can at least appreciate their motivations if they insist on acting in such a way. The theft of your money is not justified by the fact that you are partaking in such conduct. Perhaps you don't have much at stake and are willing to, I don't know, risk it or whatever because of this. Perhaps I will recover, perhaps I will not. And many people are just indifferent to things in general. To this day, you still merit having your possessions stolen from you. I can't. I totally agree with them. I can't stand it when people make that argument. In any case, it was fascinating to read the story. That's definitely one of the more elaborate scams I've heard of, because how often do you actually get a phone call from the perpetrators of a scam? In fact, at the moment I'm struggling to come up with a second example. Perhaps I've encountered such tales in books, but my mind immediately blanks when asked to name a crypto-related example. That's why he got a call from them. Please take precautions as you travel. Please exercise extreme caution. I'm relieved to hear that attorney Deaton was not successfully scammed. This is something else I'll be passing along. I retweeted it to spread the news, and one of the accounts that had originally tweeted it back at me later revealed itself to be a fake John Deaton account. No, seriously. Indeed, I did tweet that. A fake John Deaton Twitter account actually had the nerve to retweet my SU not S-word joke. Someone needs to report this user account. In a word, these individuals are lowlifes. We appreciate the help of everyone who reported this account. All of the money is in this account. The reality is that it persists, alas. This account has 999 followers and has been around since 2011, so I suspect it was originally someone else's account that was hijacked, and then likely had all of their content deleted so that it appeared to be a fake John Deaton account. Is it obvious that I am not joking around with you? So, this whole thread is dedicated to the art of scamming unsuspecting victims. Where does that leave us, exactly? A fake John Dean account comes along, he's like, oh, I'm going to share this. Due to the fact that they divulge every detail of their lives to everyone else. Dean, John, okay, so that's a small portion of their job description. They report on everything that John Dean does, which lends an air of authenticity to his actions. I wrote this letter myself. That sounds like a scam in theory. These people are horrible. I don't pretend to be an expert on money matters. Nothing I say or write should be used as a basis for making any financial decisions. Please like and subscribe channel. See you in the next video, bye.